All right, let's talk about one of the most famous and infamous financial scams out there, the Ponzi scheme.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever been pitched an investment that just sounds way too good to be true? Promises of huge returns with basically zero risk? Yeah, hold on to that feeling.
So, what in the world is a Ponzi scheme? Well, first things first, it's definitely not a type of pasta. At its core, it's an investment scam where money from new investors is used to pay off the early investors. There's no real business strategy, no actual profits being made. It's just a shell game, shuffling money from one person to another. To really get this, we've got to go back to the beginning, to the guy who literally gave the scheme his name. Let's talk about the original scammer and the wild promise he made. And here he is, the man himself, Charles Ponzi. Picture this. It's the 1920s, and this guy is promising people an absolutely insane 50% return on their money in just 45 days. His cover story was some complicated strategy with international postal coupons. But here's the real secret. He wasn't actually investing their money at all.
Okay, so how in the world does this actually work? How do they pull it off? Let's break it down with a super simple story. You'll see, it's not as complicated as it sounds.
Okay, step one is always the pitch. So let's imagine our scammer. We'll call him Bob. Bob starts some fake investment firm, and he goes out and finds, say, 5 people. He convinces them to each give him $100, promising he'll double their money in a month.
And boom, just like that, Bob's got his first $500. This is the seed money for his whole operation. So, what's his brilliant investment plan? Well, here's the secret sauce to the whole scam. Bob doesn't invest a single penny. Nope. He takes that money and goes on a nice, fancy vacation.
Okay, so a month goes by. Those first 5 investors, they're expecting to get paid with a big profit. But Bob already spent their money, so he's got a problem, right? His solution is simple. He needs to find new money. So he goes out and ropes in a bigger group, this time 12 new people, to each give him $100. And there you have it. Bob is now holding $1,200 in fresh cash. This money is the lifeblood of the scam. It's what keeps the whole thing going, for a little while anyway. So what does he do with this new cash? He takes that $1,200 and uses it to pay back the original 5 investors. He doesn't just give them their money back, he gives them $200 each, doubling their money, just like he promised. And what happens? They are ecstatic. They think Bob is a financial genius. And what do? They go and tell all their friends, becoming his best advertisers without even knowing it.
Let's just look at the simple math here for a second. Bob brought in $1,200 from his new investors. He paid out $1,000 to the original guys. That leaves him with a tidy $200 profit. And all this while building up a reputation as some kind of investment guru. It's all built on a lie, of course.
You might be thinking, hey, this could go on forever. But you'd be wrong. The whole thing is just a house of cards, and every single Ponzi scheme is doomed to fail. It's just a matter of when. And here's why. The only way this scam works is if there's a constant, never-ending stream of new investors. It needs more and more people at the bottom to pay the people who came in earlier. The second that flow of new cash dries up, game over. Just take a look at this. Imagine Bob's second wave of investors now wants their big payout. He owes them thousands of dollars, right? But the only money he has is from the next wave he brings in. Eventually, the amount of money he owes is always going to be way bigger than the money he has on hand. The math just doesn't work. Now, this Bob example is small potatoes. To see what this looks like on a truly massive, terrifying scale, we have to talk about Bernie Madoff. He ran the biggest Ponzi scheme in history, and we're talking about billions with a B. So how did a guy like this fool so many smart people for so long? It really came down to one word: credibility. I mean, Madoff wasn't just some random dude. He was the former chairman of the NASDAQ. His reputation was rock solid. That, plus this air of exclusivity around his fund, made people believe that his promise of steady 10 to 20% returns was totally legit.
It's honestly shocking how long he kept it going. We're talking more than 17 years. He started in the early 90s and just kept pulling in billions. But then 2008 happened. The massive financial crisis hit. And what do people do when they get scared? They try to pull their money out. Suddenly, everyone wanted their cash back at the same time. The flow of new money stopped, and Madoff couldn't pay. The whole house of cards just collapsed. He ended up confessing to his own sons, who turned him in.
And the final chapter of that story? Bernie Madoff was sentenced to 150 years in federal prison, a sentence that really drives home just how massive and devastating his fraud really was.
Okay, I know this all sounds pretty scary, but here's the good news. These schemes almost always have the same telltale signs. So for this last part, and this is probably the most important part, let's go over the red flags so you can protect yourself.
All right, here's what you need to be on the lookout for. Number 1, anyone promising guaranteed high returns. Real investing always has risk. Number 2, if they downplay the risk or say there's practically no risk at all, run. And finally, just trust your gut. If an investment sounds way too good to be true, it is. It just is.
So there you have it, a surprisingly simple scam with absolutely devastating consequences. Now that you know how to spot a Ponzi scheme, I'm curious, what other financial trick or complicated concept should we break down next? Let us know what you think. Thanks for tuning in.